if we explain to him with our 2-3 minutes of talk, certainly he'll be a happy person at the end of the day. Yeah, it was a wonderful experience. There in Prime Minister's office for a year only. We have to work for a long period in a dedicated manner. We need to balance this work and life. But of course, in Prime Minister's office, it was a huge challenge, and also it was a wonderful experience. See, as a bureaucrat, I have seen that every day is a unique day. Now, under National Education Policy 2020, the vocational education is given a thrust to get both long-term courses and also short-term courses. 10th, 11th and 12th standard students. Earlier, we used to conduct Udyog Mela through the physical programs. Students of this country, you all have the big responsibility.
Namaskar, hello and welcome to this exclusive and special episode of IndiGlobal Talks. IndiGlobal Talks brings to you inspiring stories of inspiring individuals. IndiGlobal Talks is brought to you by IndiGlobal Media Network that takes innovation, collaboration and growth to the forefront. And today we are joined by a transformational leader who is known for his innovation in administration. Currently, he is holding the position as the Principal Secretary for Skill Development, Entrepreneurship and Livelihood, and also the Principal Secretary for Education with the Government of Karnataka. So please join me in welcoming Dr. S. Selva Kumar, the Principal Secretary with the Government of Karnataka, who has taken several initiatives in the skill development sector and also in the livelihood. We'll know more in our candid conversation. Welcome, sir. Thank you very much for joining us.
Namaskar. Thank you.
Sir, before we get into some technical questions, we would like to know about your childhood. Where were you born and brought up, and your educational background?
See, I'm from Tamil Nadu. While Trichy district I was born, but later on it became Karur district. My native place is Tirupur district. So I'm actually in Karnataka for the last 25 years, and it's my second home now.
Amazing, sir. So how did this journey of an IAS officer or a bureaucrat journey did happen to you? Why did you choose the bureaucracy?
See, I did my engineering in Chennai. During that time, I was aiming to be an engineer, be an engineering service. So I wrote the exams and I got into the Indian Telecom Service also. But later on, when my friends started preparing and encouraging me to also join, I started preparing and I got into the Customs and Central Excise Service in the beginning, and then later on I got into the Indian Administrative Service.
Amazing, sir. Wonderful. What is that deep sense of satisfaction you get as an IAS officer?
Every day I am enjoying my job and I am able to make my mark in wherever I am posted, and that is the satisfaction I am getting.
Yeah, glad to know, sir. We need transformational leader like you. We have come to know the Karnataka Skill Development Department since you have taken over as the Principal Secretary for the department. Several initiatives have been taken up, be it livelihood or be it skill development. We would like to know in last few years what were the transformational initiatives that's been taken up, and how did it impact the citizens of Karnataka?
See, our department itself was carved out from almost 6 departments. So 6 verticals are drawn from different departments in the year 2016. So the new department was coined as Skill Development, Entrepreneurship and Livelihood. This has all these 3 components with all the verticals located within the system. But since the departments have sent or lent their verticals, it had its own difficulties in convergence. Yeah. So when I took over, it was having its own silos, and the components were not talking to each other within our own department, which was created in 2016, but it because of legacy issues it had a lot of challenges. Yeah. So first of all, wanted to have the convergence among our system within our system. So we tried our best to bring in the synergy among the verticals. So if we have to talk about skilling, we have long-term skilling and short-term skilling. In the long-term skill, we have ITIs and also government tool room training center. So ITI courses are 1 year course or 2 year courses. In GTTC, we are offering 3 year diploma course, and also it's extendable by 1 year for the field training. So that way our GTTC and ITIs are now managing the long term courses requirement of the industry. In the short term sphere, if we have to talk, the Prime Minister's Kaushalya Vikas Yojana was the first one to be launched in 2015.
Yeah.
From that time onwards, we have now 3.0 version. In parallel, in Government of Karnataka, we have our own homemade Chief Minister's Kaushalya Karnataka Yojana, which is almost parallel to the PMKVY. And through that program and PMKVY, we are able to bring in skill training, short-term skill training in different trades, and we are able to cater to the needs of the industry as well as the trades. In short-term skill training, we have introduced the new element, that is our own institutions will be providing the training according to the needs of the industry. So that way we have customized our Chief Minister's Kaushalya Karnataka Yojana for the basic requirement of our own industries. So we have constant interaction with industries. We identify their requirements and accordingly fine tune the course contents and provide them the training. So the GTTC, which is already there in long term courses, 30 of them are there in all our districts. So out of them 15 are a center of excellence. So those 15 centers are being used as a skill hubs for our training. Apart from this, we have Karnataka German Technical Training Institutes, KGTTIs, 5 in number. It is set up with the help of GIZ, Government of Germany. So those institutions are also providing Center of Excellence facility, and they are specialized in short-term skill courses. And again, it is basically industry driven courses. So if we talk about short-term skill courses, it's mostly based on the requirements of the industry, and it is catering to the needs of the engineering graduates, polytechnic diploma holders, ITI certificate holders, and whoever wants to have the training in these institutions. We are able to provide them the training and make it as a finishing school for the employability.
Yeah, amazing, sir. The moment you joined, you saw all the departments separate from each other. You put them all together. You also hold this position of education department. Do you see it as an advantage, and how could you integrate both the education and skill, because they are closely related?
Now under National Education Policy 2020, the vocational education is given a thrust in our educational system. So synergy between skill development department and the education department is a need of the hour. So that way, if we have to provide vocational education to the children of 10th, 11th and 12th standard students, we need to have more skill hubs. So we need not invent the wheel in the form of new skill hubs provision in the education system. Instead, we can utilize our resources which is already available in ITIs and KGTTI and GTTCs. So that is the way we wanted to converge ourselves with the education department, and it will be a win-win situation for both the departments and for the state as a whole, because the resources are already available, the human resources, the technological resources are already available in the skill development department, and the students are ready to learn the vocational courses. So we are very in a position of advantage to integrate these two departmental efforts and bring more number of people under a skill hub initiative.
Wonderful, sir. We also see in this modern world where fast evolving ecosystem of in regards to skill, the modern and digital workplace needs modern skills. Would you like to tell us what is the skill development department of Karnataka is doing in that direction?
See, in Karnataka we have 270 ITIs under governmental system, 196 institutions we have grant in aid provision, and around 1115 ITIs are in the private sector. So these many institutions are providing skill training, but they are all with the age old skill sets. All trades are traditional skill sets. So in order to upgrade ourselves to the industry 4.0 needs, we wanted to have a collaboration with the private partnership. So the public private partnership was thought of, and we have approached Tata Technologies Limited. They have now collaborated with 20 other multinational companies, and they have provided us the upgradation of 150 government owned ITIs. In these ITIs we have built in new workshops, new technology labs, and the technological equipments, machineries, and all other provisions required for the courses are being provided. 150 centers across the state, almost in all the taluk headquarters. So this upgradation will help our students to get both long term courses and also short term courses. So in long term courses, we didn't have much courses approved by NCVET or DGT. So we had to initiate, one is the provision of these courses, second is the conceptualization of the syllabus, and then get it approved. So recently we got the approval of all the courses, all 6 long term courses and 5 courses which are already aligned with the existing courses. So totally 11 courses under long term training program. So these 11 courses are being offered in all the 150 ITIs. In each ITI we have invested around 35 crores of equipments, machineries, and technologies. So these ITIs will be acting as a skill hub, the technology hub for the surrounding MSMEs industries.
Yeah.
They can avail the service of these ITIs, can get the services of industry 4.0 needs. So they can become an ancillary industry for any MNCs in the state or in the country. Similarly, the students of engineering colleges, polytechnics, and ITIs can also avail these services, because in each taluk there may be 10 to 12 institutions, such institutions, maybe engineering college, polytechnic, or ITIs. So those institutions can, those engineering students or polytechnic students can avail the courses here offered here, and they can get themselves highly skilled trained, that is industry 4.0 trained candidates, which will have good potential in the market both internationally and nationally.
Wonderful, sir, the kind of initiatives that's been taken. So in a way the hubs are being created within the MSMEs regions, so decentralized labs are there. Coming to the kind of the divide which you see, sir, the urban and the rural. Of course you are reaching out to the rural areas as well. How do you see, what are the challenges of this clear divide of urban and rural, and in terms of implementation of several initiatives that have been taken up, what are the challenges you have seen and how could you overcome them?
See, rural students had the double disadvantage. One is the access, second is the availability of technology. Both had its own implication on their career progression. In urban areas, of course, everyone is having the access and also having the access to the technology.
Yeah.
But it is up to them to utilize. Who are willing to take, they are able to reach out to the institutions of higher standards, and they are able to get themselves trained and get employed elsewhere or employed within the country. Whereas in the rural areas, those students who are not having, they are the first generation graduate digital users or trades, they are able to come up to certain level only.
Yeah.
So for them, if we provide the opportunity to understand the technology and provide them the linkage with the industries. It will be a huge social mobility, vertical mobility for them.
Yeah.
In terms of salary or in terms of social status also, they will be having huge potential in rural areas.
Yeah.
So that's the reason we have located almost out of this 150 ITIs upgradation program, 125 are located in the pure rural areas. And it's not that we have just kept the upgradation program there. It is with the clear mandate of connecting with local industries, connecting with local institutions. So that way they will be able to access the advanced technology on par with the urban students, and also since we are providing them the soft skill training and language skill training, it will be helpful for them to break the barrier of the communication issues. So that way I think the rural students will be more benefited from this program, and they will be in a better position to come up more in life in terms of vertical mobility.
I was saying, sir, the soft skills and communication skills, which are considered one of the integral part, rural students and citizens could have access to them. And sir, we are into the third year of COVID pandemic. There has been a digital revolution, kind of transformation. And how do you see the kind of transformation that happened in the skill development sector and education?
See, earlier we used to conduct Udyog Mela through the physical programs, but now we have the Skill Connect portal, through which the potential employer and the job seekers register themselves, and we facilitate them in providing the employment. Similarly, many of the training courses are being now offered through online courses. Of course, cannot substitute complete offline courses, but since we are offering through online courses, the reach is far higher, and the candidates are who are not able to otherwise reach out to the physical training, they are now able to access our resources and able to get the training which is required for their future career. So that way pandemic in the sense has helped us in digitizing ourselves, changing our outlooks, and also helping the reach in a larger scale.
It actually catalyzed the transformation. Sir, my next question would be like, several futuristic initiatives have been taken. In the next coming years, in few years, what is the milestone that the Karnataka Skill Development Department is going to touch upon?
See, we have one more component of entrepreneurship and livelihood which I have not touched upon. In entrepreneurship also, a lot of potentiality is there for the candidates or the individuals to become entrepreneurs themselves. Their exposure level is very limited now, and if they are getting minimum exposure of our training, bank linkages, and the procedures to be followed in the in setting up an industry or a small scale units, it will help them in their lifetime, and they can be a potential employer for hundreds of future students. So that way we are mostly focusing on entrepreneurial components also. And in terms of livelihood, we are trying to get in touch with almost all the rural folks and urban folks in mobilizing them with self-help groups, federating them, and providing them the access to the credit. Once they get the credit and produce more and more, facilitate them with quality productions, and then giving them the market access. That will transform the whole rural and urban poorer sections of the society. So that way it will have an impact in the economy itself. It will have a cascading effect on the growth of the GDP growth in the state. Having said that, it has a challenge. It's not a single day effort. We have to plan it and execute it time bound manner and a proper way. So that's the major challenge which we are now having.
Glad to know, sir. It has a holistic approach. You have a short term plan and a long term plan. Sir, NEP 2020 National Education Policy. What is your take? Some say it is groundbreaking, revolutionary. Some say it is as good as it is implemented. Your take on NEP 2020?
Yeah, the idea wise, it's path breaking, as you said, and it has its own good elements. We have our own traditional systems which we need to break the silos and then make it happen. I think it's possible, but it certainly revolutionize the education system in future, because the credit transfers, the flexibility of the students to go from one courses to another is a real remarkable provision in the NEP. So that makes the candidates or students very flexible for themselves, and as and when they feel that they need to change their career path, they can change it. Whereas in our educational system, it is very rigid and it having its own limitations to change the career path in the middle of the courses. So that way, it's progressive step. Internationally, most of the countries have adopted it, and we need to change towards that.
Wonderful, sir. Sir, your definition of innovation?
See, any change which can bring in technological advancement with ease of life, and which can have incremental positive output, can be it doesn't have the limitation of any doesn't have the constraint of present position. So that way, any incremental effort or the efforts which can bring in multitude of changes can be called as an innovation.
Great, sir. Sir, now coming to your personal life, you also served as the director in Prime Minister's office. How has been your experience, and could you contribute something more? While being in the state cadre, you were in the central deputation. How was the experience and the change difference?
Yeah, it was a wonderful experience. I was there in Prime Minister's office for a year only. After that, I have moved to the Finance Department as Joint Secretary in the Department of Economic Affairs. But of course, in Prime Minister's office, it was a huge challenge, and also it was a wonderful experience. Looking at the departments with a bird's eye view, I was handling almost 26 departments, and it was a wonderful experience to know about different departmental policies and how we can change the policies so that it can reach the masses in a larger scale. And it was during the current Prime Minister's first year tenure, so it was having its own understanding, its own kind of policy changes which we wanted to have. I think it was a wonderful experience.
Amazing, sir. So you as a bureaucrat, there is always said a lot of expectation from the citizens and from the government. There is a kind of stress constantly there on senior officers like you. How do you strike a balance in your personal and professional life?
See, work-life balance is an important thing in our career. If we lose our life balance, then somewhere we will be losing ourselves. Yeah. So we have to work for a long period in a dedicated manner. We need to balance this work and life. So that way, I am fortunate that I make it a point that my everyday routine should be in a balanced way, and also I never compromise on the official work for the yes, personal work. At the same time, personal life I don't risk for the official life. So there is a clear balance, and I am able to manage.
Well said, sir. If we don't strike a balance, we lose ourselves. Sir, what is that one thing that keeps you going always? Every morning you get up and you have this inspiration and this energy that keeps you on the run and inspired.
See, as a bureaucrat, I have seen that every day is a unique day. Each post and each position, each day is unique in its nature. The kind of applicants who are meeting you, the kind of meetings you have to conduct, and the issues which you have to get it resolved, these are all unique in nature, and that way keeps you engaged fully. At the same time, it is fully enriching, and also it brings you the happiness at the end of the day. My motto is that, see, in every application there are many number of people behind that application, and if they get their works resolved or if they get the satisfactory job through our actions, then that is the happiness you can drive at the end of the day. And if we have the discretion to provide some assistance or help to somebody, if it is benefiting the public at large, then we should take that decision and benefit them.
That is what gives you that satisfaction and gives you that inspiration to do more. Sir, what is your greatest strength of your life, and would you like to tell us about your family?
Yeah, my wife is an art consultant and she is a constant motivator of me for doing my work. She never minds that I work extra hours in the office, but at the same time she's always monitoring my health parameters, and she's always providing me the nutritious food and everything. So that way I have a great support in the form of a family. So the family life, if it is good, then it actually comes out in the work atmosphere also.
Yeah.
If we are happy at home, we can be happy at the office, and if we are happy in the office, we will be having gregarious effect among the people larger so the people who are interacting with us also can be happy. For example, if a person is coming with a higher grief, that he is really aggrieved and he is coming to you, and if you are not in a position to help him also, if you talk to him sweetly and try to understand his issues and try to explain him why it's not possible within our present rules and regulations, and how he has to cope up with the grief which he is already having it. If we explain to him with our 2-3 minutes of talk, certainly he'll be the happy person at the end of the day, that somebody has heard my grievance and
Yes.
he is able to give me a solution, or he is not able to give me the solution, but he has heard it with patience. So that is the way I look at every application or every applicant. So each application, even if they are not being presented in person, I look at it with 2 or 3 persons behind each application. So their face will come into our mind, and then accordingly the smile also should be there for them. So the most possible way we will try to help them is their life. Even if it's not possible, give them the explanation and make them understand that it's not possible within the framework of rules. So that's the way we need to continuously motivate people and make them happy to be a citizen of this state.
Glad to know, sir. Glad to have interacted with you, an empathetic officer towards citizens. Sir, you as an officer, transformation leader and innovator in administration, what would be your message for the youngsters who look up to their career, of their future? Please do share your message to our youngsters, viewers.
Dear friends, life is a journey which we need to enjoy ourselves. It has its own ups and downs, but we should not lose our focus on our goals. Every day is a challenge. Every day is time to enjoy ourselves. So focus yourself on the goal, at the same time enjoy the path which we are going. That way we can certainly have the satisfaction and reach the goal smoothly. The young potential students of this country, you all have the big responsibility of taking the 21st century forward. The technology is advancing like leaps and bounds. The disruptive technologies are changing the work pattern and also the life pattern day in, day out. So you all need to transform yourself to the needs of the society and needs of the technology. Accordingly, you all can focus yourself to learn new things, to understand technology in a better manner and be a good citizen of this country.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your life journey, and it's inspirational for many people. And with this, we come to the end of our IndiGlobal Talks. Thanks for your time. So that was Dr. S. Selva Kumar, who is the senior bureaucrat, transformation leader, and innovator in administration. This is Sudheer Goutham from IndiGlobal Media Network signing off. Till the next time we come with yet another inspiring leader with his inspiring story. Namaskar.